Well, I'd say I found a way of living that allows one to express fully one's feelings and desires and aspiration for beauty, arts, which is not so common in spirituality. Look, usually you don't have that practice of arts within traditions of spiritual awakening. It is not so common. Tantra is full of colors, theater, dance, music, singing, and that speaks very much to me. And beyond that, this means that here we have a tradition that allows for the expression of all the aspects of one's being, but within limits, within rules, so that energy does not destroy itself. It is not doing just whatever comes through your mind, but it is not repressing. It is expressing all the powers that are within oneself. So in the end, this is probably the reason why I have stuck to that tradition, even though I have explored many others and I have received from many other traditions and masters. The tradition is a trigger for awakening the faith, the trust in one's own power. Not in the sense of my own individual powers like in the New Age movement, but rather it is about awakening my powers to heal and solve and understand and transcend problems by offering oneself to something larger and higher, deeper than one's individual self. So, in other words, it is a remedy for stress, aging, sickness, but it comes in the shape of a paradox. It is by dying, by offering one's individual self to the space that we really are, that in the end the individual can be recreated in a new shape and still with the same problems and sickness, but with a different perfume to it. You know, it's like sometimes you get such a good news or you see such a beauty, like in nature or sunset, that even though you still have the same miseries in your body, they all get transformed, as it were, just by the sight of that beauty. And here's the same. Tantra is about seeing one's true nature, the true nature of every being, the true nature of everything. And seeing that, I forget my individual problems. And forgetting my individual problems, they get transformed. And somehow, I am healed. So, it comes in the shape of a paradox. If I die, I will live. If I forget myself, I will remember. Something in me will remember its true natural state, with no sickness, no problem, no stress, no fears. And so certainly it can help. It is there for this. But I can help my problems only if I consent to give it up, to forget about it, and to offer myself to something higher. And then my problems are being taken care of. So Tantra is useful if I surrender to a higher power, and then my problems maybe have their solutions there. Well, that's a good question. Back then, sources were so few, but good quality. If I could go back, I would probably do things quite different. And I would, first of all, learn good Sanskrit, practice meditation, and probably I would do more physical exercise. I would take more care of my body. It's not that I did not take care, but back then in India it was more adventurous and more dangerous for one's health. So if I could start it all again, I would probably take more care of my body. And I would learn Sanskrit, and right from the beginning I would read the texts, even if I don't understand, even if you don't get it, even if you get just one word here or there. It's really very important, I feel, to read aloud, so that the power of the word flows through your being and can start to work on it and to transform it and to shape it anew. And probably I would go straight for that. In my own path, I believe I waited probably far too long before delving into the texts. And I would do that at all and every level. I would dive into the practice, I would dive into reading, which is also practice. And before, when I was young, I thought I would have lots of time. And that first I had to go through that level, then through this, then to acquire this competence, and then the next one, like building a house. And if I could do it again, I would probably go straight to the heart of the matter and just go for the teaching itself, the teaching itself. Don't try to, first I need to find a master, first I need to learn yoga, first I need to learn how to concentrate. then I need to find a person, a partner, a life partner with whom I can share the things. No, I would go straight to the heart of awakening, because once you get that, you have everything. And as long as you don't get it, whatever you get elsewhere, you don't get anything. It's all empty. So I would go straight to the heart of the matter, straight to the teachings themselves, even if in the beginning I would not understand them. I would have the feeling that I don't get anything. But still, I believe now the most important thing is not a master, not finding whatever ideal picture I have in mind, but rather going straight to the heart of the matter, and the nearest and the most potent trigger for awakening is probably the teaching itself, the written teaching, the oral teaching left by the tradition, that legacy that we have. And I would go straight there without waiting to find the perfect place, the perfect time, the perfect master, the perfect friends, and so on, the perfect situation. No, I would go straight to the heart of the matter. And that's it. I believe in the 21st century, a tantrika is going to the principles. It's very important to distinguish the heart of the teaching from its cultural clothing. Of course, Indian culture is wonderful beyond words, but I would say the special tradition of Kashmir Shaïvism is that it extracts the essence, the universal essence, the principle that you can apply and then everywhere, in every shape, in every expression of form that is suitable. It's like if I want to make pancakes, I have first to get right my recipe. Otherwise, whatever the type of the style of pancake I will make, it won't taste good. And here is the same. The important thing is the basic recipe. The basic things I have to know to get it right from the start. And then I can choose the styles of my liking according to my circumstances, which are changing, of course. And whatever my culture, if I am in China, if I am in Japan, if I am in South America, it will be very different. If I live in a very open, inclusive society, if I live in a more traditional rooted culture, more scientific, more artistic, I will be able to express everything. So I believe the Tantrika of the 21st century has first to go for the principle and then express in the style that suits you. So Tantra for the 21st century is not about mandalas, mantras, mudras, and other shapes. It has to be faithful to the spirit of the tradition. And sometimes, to be faithful to the spirit, you have to transgress seemingly the letter, the appearance of it. But that is not bad at all, because when you get to the spirit, then you can express in a true way. We see Tantra has come into many cultures, many different cultures, like Indian cultures, Tibetan, Japanese, and still they have been able to express the same principles. So what we need in 21st century is the principle, and not to get lost into cultural aspects, which are very interesting, but not spiritually relevant. What we are looking for here is freedom, awakening. We're not trying to imitate a historical model. We're not trying to become Indian. We're not trying to become Tibetan. We are trying to go to the heart of the matter, because the point is that we are aging, getting sick and dying. And the purpose of Tantra is to save us from those fears. This is what is important. Not to become like ChatGPT, imitating this and that tradition and being faithful to shapes and colors and ways of eating and clothing and so on and so forth. What's important is to feel from the inside and then express outside in whatever ways feels right. If Abhinavagupta, the greatest master of Tantra, was alive today, he would probably teach in the same way and teach the same principles, the same truth. You see, in his teachings, he's always very aware of the traps, the trappings of getting lost into details. He digresses. He speaks of many things that come up in his heart-mind, but he does not get lost into those details, like what exactly, what type of mantra I should recite to get that precise type of result. When he's asked those questions, he answers, I'm not there for answering you on those questions. I'm not there to give those infos, because you can easily find them in books, in tantras, specialized about this. So if Tantra is, if Abhinavagupta was teaching now, he would not look tantric. He would not look tantric, probably. And his expression would be very, very different. Maybe he would speak of quantum physics. Maybe he would speak about how to eat, how to make a recipe for vegans, or maybe he would take part in politics. I don't know. But whatever the case, he would still transmit those very same principles of Tantra. The very same principles, which are the principles of consciousness, breath, space, and desire. The essence of his teaching, all based on the experience of absolute freedom, that to exist, to be conscious, to be a living being, is to be absolutely free. That is the point. That is the point. He would not look special, probably, but he would share something special. Okay, I think Neo-Tantra is about harnessing powers to use them for one's individual interest. Money, power, success, and so forth. And that was already the case in the tradition. We should not believe that before, in that golden age, everyone was so pure that no one was ever interested in those things like money, power, and success. In fact, it's mostly about this as well. But I believe the real message of Tantra is not about this. It's rather about giving oneself, surrendering to something larger, bigger, wider, deeper than oneself, than one's individual self. That's always the main point. That was the mistake before of wanting to use everything for one's egoistic, egocentric interest. And today it's the same. So how to avoid getting lost. It's not a matter of neo-tantra or classical tantra. The point is, do I do things only for myself, for my individual self, or am I in the process of opening up to something wider, richer, deeper? That's the important point. So nowadays, often people become aware that Neo-Tantra is not very mature, not very great from an ethical point of view. It's a little bit childish. Yes, but classical Tantra can very well be the same. So the point is one's motivation. If I do things only for myself, I will lose everything. I won't get what I want. It's always the same paradox. If I want to get it, I must forget it. Or at least I must forget myself, my own individual. And if I transcend my individual, then I will find that in the end, my individuality is successful. But first, I have to forget it. And that's what I'm doing by practicing Tantra, studying, learning, and so on. Because in those processes, you forget yourself. And your body, your heart, your energy, your mind opens up to something much wider, much larger, much bigger. So it's about becoming bigger, stronger, and so on. But the way of doing so is different. That's the point, the motivation. If my basic motivation is me only, I'll fail. It will be a failure. So to go the right path in that huge jungle of world Tantra, Neo-Tantra, classical Tantra, the key is motivation, I believe. Yeah, there is a revival going on, happening everywhere. And probably there are quite many people I've never heard of, but they are here trying to imbibe the tradition and to share it in their own ways. And I believe very much that we need the tradition without being dogmatic or rigid about it. Tradition is a legacy. It's like food. You need food in order to live. But then you need to eat it and to digest it well. If you don't eat or if you digest in a bad way, in a wrong way, uh, you die. So I believe that there are two extremes. The people who just want to go by the tradition and imitate it like parrots in quite a mechanical way, I'd say. And on the other extreme, you find those people who are maybe so arrogant or so self-confident, they believe they can extract everything out of their so-called intuition or good feeling. And both those extremes are failing, because really I need the tradition not just to reproduce or to imitate it, but the tradition is very important to get me out of my mind, to pull me out of my prejudices, my habits, and to throw new lights, new insights that I could not find by myself, because I'm so used to certain ways. So tradition is necessary for this. And if I am a scholar, it means I am studying tradition in whatever way, within academia or outside, doesn't matter. What is important is to nourish myself with that legacy. On the other hand, I need to digest it. I need to experiment things. I need to understand. I cannot just register things, because it's very easy to get lost in details. Just like I can get lost in cultural clothings, details, I can also get lost in textual criticism, philology, and become a lover of the words instead of trying to imbibe the meaning. So I need to experiment, and I need to digest. That means I need the teachings to go deep to the core of my being, so that it can transform me from the inside out. Just like food. It's really a process of the body. Body and the mind are not so different. And the Indian way is this. You learn, you imitate, but then going through you, it becomes different. The same evolution, the same flow, the same current, but it is transforming, it is changing. So I believe that those two sides are necessary. Receiving new insights from the outside, and this is the scholarship aspect, the scholarly aspect, and there is also the digestion aspect, experiential, to understand deeply and to integrate those things in one's daily life, and especially upheavals and difficult times. And that is the practice aspect. So I believe there are many people, and more people nowadays coming up in that fashion, and I think it's very auspicious. I don't think we must hope too much, because all this awakening thing, all these incredible benefits, we can ripe them when we forget about it. What is Tantra all about, really? It is about devotion, about love. Bhakti. It's about love. And love is not something based on interest or calculation or even reflection. It's not useful. What's the use of love? There is no use. Everything is useful to love, but love is not useful itself. When you love someone or something, you don't love it for something else. Otherwise, it's not love. So love, it's absolute, is absolute. It is its own end. It is its own end. And so there is no stake. There are no stakes. And we should not put stakes on those things, because otherwise we lose that carefree attitude, which is so necessary. So necessary. So what is Tantra? It's just some people have discovered a wonder, and a wonderment of just existing, just breathing, just perceiving, desiring. And that's it. And within this, they discovered a real beyond words, beyond words. But is it useful, really? No. We are useful to it, but it is not useful. We are the instrument. My body, my mind, my person is the instrument of that mystery. And what's the purpose of it all, of this life, of this cosmic adventure, of this evolution? Well, I don't know. Tantra says it is amazement, it is discovery, it is playing. All those metaphors are pointing at something that is completely freed from any interest. It does not serve any purpose. Because what I awaken to is its own purpose, has its own value, absolute value. And everything else is heading to that point. But that point itself is not heading towards anything else. That's why it is the absolute, it is the end of all ends. It is the value of all values, it is the taste of all tastes, it is the final, the ultimate purpose. So there are no stakes. It's just about relaxing in the love, which is that. So we should approach this with great ease, just like children, not being too serious. Well, I would add that Tantra is not just a special tradition with its texts, symbols, rituals, practices. Rather, it is a way of looking at life, at one's experience, the flow of one's feelings. And it is especially two things. First, it is pointing to our true nature beyond everything. Our true nature that unveils itself between two thoughts, for example. So it is first of all pointing out our real nature beyond all. And then, second point, Tantra is about integrating everything, all aspects of our lives, all our experiences, even the most painful, extremes, violent, into that recognition of our true nature beyond body and mind and beyond everything. So it's about recognizing that I am nothing limited, and I recognize that heart vibration of deep bliss, of quiet joy, which is the source of all me and of everything else. And then I let it flow all from that deep center, that deep vibration deep within. So I dive into that recognition. This is awakening proper, you could say. And then I discover how to integrate all the aspects of life, all my powers, all my states, all my feelings, all my reactions, all my habits into that recognition. Recognizing, integrating. This is what Tantra is all about. Anastamita bharupastejasam tamasam api ya ekontaryadantascha tejansi cha tamansi cha sa eva sarvabhutanam subhavaha parameshwaraha bhavojatam hitasya eva shaktirishvaratamayi shaktischa shaktimadrupan vyatirekam navanchati tadatmyam manayor nityam bahnidahikayoriva sa eva bhairavo devo jagadharanalakshanaha swatmadarshe samagram hi yacchaktya pratibimbatam Sa